Good afternoon. Welcome to a news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov asserted that the document issued by the Geneva conference contained no imposed preconditions on the political process or the national dialogue in Syria, nor does it exclude any party. In a press conference following the meeting of the International Work Group about Syria yesterday, Mr. Lavrov pointed out that Russia rejected any preconditions. It was able to unite this attitude with its partners in order to exert pressure on all parties.
In his reply to Hillary Clinton, Mr. Lavrov said that the document sent a clear message to the Syrian government and the armed groups about the necessity to implement the Annan plan clearly and to stop all armed activities, in addition to supporting the UN mission in Syria in order to achieve stability. Lavrov said Russia had enough facts proving that the armed groups and those who support and finance them are not carrying out their obligations.
They are provoking the Syrian government and the Syrian forces to retaliate. Everybody should exert the positive influence on all parties, especially the armed groups, to implement the Annan plan. Some armed groups and their supporters are spreading the violence and attacking the administrative institutions, government properties, and the army and the police. The armed groups are also preventing the efforts of the Red Cross to rescue the innocent civilians stuck in various towns and villages. We cannot call for the exits of the government forces while the armed groups are continuing to receive weapons. These weapons are coming through illegal and illegitimate means.
Lavrov added that the crisis in Syria has a media dimension. Some TV channels continue to transmit pictures taken by mobile phones without being sure of the identity of these pictures. Many reporters in Al Jazeera resigned in protest against its way of giving a distorted image of events in Syria. There was a vicious attack on the Syrian News TV channel.
I asked my colleagues in the work group about their opinion of blocking the transmission of the Syrian TV space channels, but I got no reply, although the members of the European Union never stopped talking about the freedom of expression and the freedom of reports in gathering information.
The Chinese attitude was similar to that of Russia. The Chinese foreign minister asserted that the agreement reached in Geneva assumed great importance to consolidate the process of a political solution of the crisis in Syria.
The transitional plan in Syria can only be carried out by the Syrians themselves, with the approval of all the significant parties. Nobody from the outside could take the resolution concerning the Syrian people.
On his part, the UN envoy Kofi Annan has said that the International Work Group on Syria reached an agreement to help solve the crisis in Syria through a political process led by the Syrians themselves, through a comprehensive national dialogue and in an atmosphere of calm, requiring the disarmament of the armed gangs.
We are determined to work together urgently and intensively to bring about an end to the violence and human rights abuses and the launch of a Syrian-led political process leading to a transition that meets the legitimate aspirations of the Syrian people and enables them independently and democratically to determine their own future.
The meeting of Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and expatriates Dr. Faisal Muqdad with the delegation of the Social Chamber of Federal Russia headed by Sergei Orjonikidze, former Deputy UN Secretary General, focused today on the historical relations between both countries and the current crisis in Syria. Mr. Orjonikidze asserted that the purpose of visiting Syria and meeting with the political, economic and religious parties was to express the understanding stance of the Russian people and government to what is going on in Syria and to convey the true image. He pointed out that many Western media circles distort facts about the situation in Syria and do not portray the real image with objectivity. On his part, Dr. Muqdad expressed appreciation extended by the Syrian government and people to Russia's stance in support of Syria during the current crisis, asserting that the relations of both peoples are deeply rooted over decades. 100 deceived citizens in Hama and its countryside surrendered themselves. They were involved in recent events, but there was no blood on their hands. They surrendered their weapons to the security forces. Their situation was settled and they were released after pledging not to carry weapons or to carry out acts of sabotage harmful to Syria's security in the future. Two terrorists killed by an explosive charge while trying to plant it in Aleppo countryside. Sana correspondent quoted a source at the Aleppo municipality as saying the charge has exploded while the two terrorists were planting it on a roadside in al-Syria near Tel Aden, 20 kilometers east of Aleppo, killing them instantly. In Latakia, the competent authorities seized a terrorist hideout in the village of Babna containing large quantities of medicines, arms and ammunition. An official source at the governorate said that the seized medicaments were of Turkish origin, and there were also bottles full of anesthetic liquid in addition to pump-action machine guns and ammunition. In the town of Al-Qaryatin in Homs, the authorities investigated a car parked in the Genubi quarter of the town on the way to the industrial college upon information from the inhabitants. An official source said that while searching the car, which was a Rio, authorities found a number of machine guns, large quantities of ammunition and bombs. With this, we conclude our news bulletin for today. For more news about Syria and the region, you can visit our website, syriaonline.sy. Now over to our economic news with Vani.